Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two questions. I trust that all councillors are clear what is meant by key route network in paragraph 28b of the devolution proposal. It includes only local authority roads, not the A14, M11, A11 or A428, and not the railways. While Cambridge and South Cambridgeshire is rightly preoccupied with the affordable housing crisis, we must not miss this opportunity to address some of the flaws in the local strategic road and rail network. Soham Station, the Newmarket Curve, ED North Junction, the ED Southern Bypass, the A14, A142 Junction, and the A47 all get a mention in the proposal document. But where is the Girton interchange? Adding connections from the A428 to the M11 and A1307 would reduce congestion on the A1303 and through Toff, Compton and Barton. Reduce commute times by bus and car from Cambourne and Papworth to the city centre and biomedical campus, and make a park and ride at the Girton interchange eminently viable. Where are the additional connections between the A11 and the N11 and A14? Three-way junctions would mean that incidents and roadworks on any side of this triangle of roads could be bypassed without overwhelming the city and villages and huge volumes of heavy traffic. Where's the new railway station at Fulbourn? This would complement a new station at Soham and make the Newmarket railway line a viable travel option for thousands of people travelling to the city centre and, when the Cambridge South station opens, the biomedical campus. So my question to Councillor Herbert is, will you take this opportunity to get a balanced set of strategic transport infrastructure commitments on paper from government before the devolution deal is finalised? My second question. In the devolution proposal under governance, paragraph 2, it states Cambridgeshire and Peterborough have agreed delegation of responsibility from the combined authority to city deal mechanisms. In other words, the city deal will continue as now. The Mayor's transport budget will be £20 million a year. The city deals will be £40 million from 2020. The Office of the Mayor will have its own overview and scrutiny committee and audit committee, yet the city deal board has neither. I ask you, does it make sense for the Office of the Mayor to delegate spending £40 million per year to a board that is lacking in public profile, accountability, transparency, critical overview, scrutiny and audit at the local level? Perhaps you think the Joint Assembly holds the board to account. Well, paragraph 4.3 of the Assembly's terms of reference states the Assembly may receive and comment on pre-scrutinised reports to the Executive Board, may offer advice to the Board on the discharge of its functions, and may review its work. Pre-scrutiny is not scrutiny, and qualifying the function with may renders the Assembly impotent. Councillor Herbert, as Chair of the City Executive Board, will claim to be accountable to this Council for the Board's decisions. However, the Board has delegated many of its decision-making powers to an officer to minimise delays in delivery. Councillor Herbert, I ask you, if the Mayor's office is to live up to its bidding for transparent governance and accountability, then the city deal must come under its purview. Will you ensure that this happens? Thank you.
Well, I haven't noticed the question, but I'm very happy to answer it. In terms of the issues that have been raised, there is clearly reference in the document to the discussions by the Mayor, and particularly the combined authority, should that come into existence, that it will look across the geography and the strategic geography. There is clear reference in the document specifically to rail investment, and whilst it doesn't specifically mention a Fulbourn station, that's on our list as a project that we want to see happen. There's the particular priorities are ones that Network Rail have known about for some time on rail, and that includes ED North, which is a major blockage for the whole region. So there is a list of rail investments that will be key part of our priority, and we will take into account and I will raise the issues that he's raised as part of reporting back to the Council in October. But it won't necessarily be a deal breaker. It will be something that we want to make sure that we have a discussion on. He has raised questions about the city deal, and I do accept part of it in that one of the issues that we were considering in advance of an amendment that Councillor Vick is tabling, but which we had some discussions with Councillor Vick about today, that the real accountability of people who are representatives of organisations is back at base. So if we have a look at some of the accountability on the combined authority, if there is one, and the role of myself as leader or whoever's the representative of the City Council, then I'm happy to also have a look at some of the issues of accountability for the City Deal back to this organisation. You and I hold different views about the City Deal. And I had, as you might be well aware, I had absolutely no say in the governance model that was created. That was a creature more of the party that's in opposition now on this council, in conjunction with a government that they have representation in. So the only reason why I don't believe we should argue endlessly about governance on the City Deal is that that would take us away from a focus on other things. We could spend 6 months wrestling about governance, and I'm not sure how much at the end that we would have to show. But I do think there can be more accountability through here. I'm regularly asked questions through this chamber, but there could be more of a reporting back into the council. There's been a steady growth of these, Mr Mayor, functions that the leader takes on, and which there needs to be some accountability for. In terms of the role of the City Deal, the March motion that I'll refer to later did actually recognise the value of subsidiarity and of councils and the City Deal doing some of the delivery. What we do not want to have, Mr Leigh, is a huge new bureaucracy based somewhere in the middle of the county, which will generate a new set of delivery and a new set of organisations which will be even more complicated than the structures that we already have. So I think what we are keen to do is to decide on the fairly limited funding on infrastructure that you rightly point out, that there is an element of local delivery as well as clear accountability. But we will be supporting clear accountability for the combined authority to this council.